UFC 264 is over. It's been over for several days, just like Conor McGregor's career. This is your boy JG, Exaggeration Experience. We break it all down right here, right now. Let's go.
Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby, hit me back up and chat to you later on. We'll be at the after party, the Win nightclub, baby. You looking bitch, you little.
Like I said before, welcome back to the channel. This is your boy JG, Exaggeration Experience. Let's get right into it. Like I said at the top, it's a wrap for Conor McGregor for a multitude of reasons. This weekend was not a good one for me. And I thought to myself, you know what? I didn't get this video out fast enough, but enough time has gone by and passed by. New information has presented itself. And this makes the timing for this video perfect. So we know it went down. UFC 264 this previous Saturday. He had a trilogy bout with Dustin Poirier. And his leg folded up. He had Gumby leg. I've said it before about other fighters. Shout out Chris Whammon. Shout out my man Anderson Silva. He had the old school Gumby leg, one of the original Gumby legs, right? You know, he buckled his shit. Dustin Poirier stated that, you know, he felt like he checked the kick and he caused the damage. And then McGregor put some pressure on it after missing a shot. And the shit folded up. Not like a love letter, though, because there's not much love right now from my man, Conor McGregor. With that being stated, well, how was the fight going before that happened, right? You know, it was very similar to the first fight. Conor McGregor landed some cool shots. He was feeling himself. But by and large, Dustin Poirier was just outpointing him, outstriking him, put him down, took him down, nasty ground and pound. Two of the judges on the scorecard by the end of that first round had it a 10-8 round, one for a 10-9 round. And there was no evidence to suggest that Conor McGregor was going to figure out a way to turn around. Somehow, MMA is unpredictable. You know, that as they interviewed Charles Oliveira, what do you think would have happened had he not hurt himself? And he said, you know, I feel like MMA is unpredictable. I feel like this is predictable. You check out my last two videos. I could not paint a picture that would describe or encapsulate a way that Conor McGregor won that fight. Poirier, too big, too much real momentum. You know, Conor McGregor, you know, if you think about what he's done over the last few years, you know, we know he's only won one fight in the last 5. He's lost twice, in my opinion, to Diaz. Got choked out by Nurmagomedov. He beat up old Cerrone, Eddie Alvarez. You know, and quite honestly, if the fight was allowed to continue between him and that fucking bus, I think he would have lost to the bus by decision. You know, shout out to Michael Chiesa, shout out to Nama Yunus, because, you know, that was on that joint. But let's get back to it. He loses in horrific fashion in a fight that he was getting dominated in. And the reason why I stated at the top that his career is over, it's a list of things. I'll go before the fight. You look up to the lead up to the fight. The press conferences, Twitter, things of that nature. Conor McGregor stated, this is going to be, Conor McGregor, you know, I was a nice guy before, and, you know, I'm back to me old self. He was never back to him old self. If you look at old school Conor on his rise before he got the featherweight strap from Aldo, he wasn't ever really talking shit. He was just telling his opponents what's going to happen to him. I'm going to get you out of there in the first. I'm going to hit you with this left hand. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. He never, I mean, if you don't like that, if you don't feel like you want him to do that to you, you could consider shit talking, but he would go and do that shit, right? So that was part of the allure. He takes a couple losses. He takes some bad losses. I think the Nurmagomedov loss was a pretty bad one. He has a layoff. He has some legal troubles. All this shit happens, right? But the buzz of Conor McGregor still existed. When he decided after the second Poirier bout, you know, I'm going to start running my mouth again, it wasn't the old Conor. You can say, this is the old me. But if you look back at the shit talk, the only thing he was doing is trying to convince himself that he was something that he no longer is, straight like that. And I want to give credit to Dustin Poirier because in the post-fight press conference at 264, he did a fantastic job of identifying when asked, hey, what did you see in Conor McGregor's eyes in the face-off, you know, just before, you know, the final weigh-in? He was desperation, and he was 100% correct. And anyone that's an objective fan, you can see the same thing if you just pay attention. One of the things that threw me for a loop, I forget the name of the show, I think it aired on BT Sports. I know Darren Till was there, former fighter Dan Hardy was there, and a couple other guys. I think they got a YouTube channel, and they were breaking down. They spent an hour, 56 minutes, breaking down who they thought was going to win this bout. And all of them broke it down the same exact way. I feel like if it goes to a certain point, it's going to go Poirier's way. Dan Hardy went as far as say he felt like Conor McGregor was a more well-rounded mixed martial artist, which I would love to have that conversation because I don't know where he's getting that from, but broke it down for Poirier. So when they was wrapping up, they asked, okay, we're done here. We got like a minute left. Who are you going with? The thing was 6 guys in the ring. One dude had it going for a draw, but no one definitively went for Poirier. They were still tied up in the lore, the fantasy of the rise of Conor McGregor, when really all the information you have available to you will tell you Dustin Poirier was about to wax that ass straight like that. Straight like that. Then you get to the fight. We know what happens. It's a fight that Poirier is winning handily, and it's not an opinion thing. Just go back and rewatch it. You know, Conor McGregor gets some shots, and even Poirier acknowledged in the post-fight press conference. You know, he can hit. You know, the dude's a good puncher. But by and large, he was getting his ass whooped. You don't get to elbow me 57 times and then say you winning and shit. We saw the breakdown of Conor McGregor after that. The desperation in his eyes, the fear, the uncertainty in the moments after the fight. You know, shout out to Ronda Rousey. He's talking about, wow, I could have never been in a position where I could promote the fight immediately after something. He's not promoting the fight. You think he was promoting a fight? He was being real and acting in a spot of desperation. This isn't over. Whatever, your wifey, all this extra shit he was talking. Hey, and shout out to Dustin Poirier. He has the most polite shit talking of all time. I'm Dustin Poirier. You know what, this guy, Conor McGregor, you know, he's a scumbag. What he said was inappropriate. You don't say things like that to a man, his family, his wife. And no, it's not over. You know, if I have to combat him again in the streets or perhaps in the octagon, it's not going to be pretty. And I'm Dustin Poirier. Like, you could tell he's a cool ass dude. He talks shit like that. But I digress. That was a promotion of fight coming from Conor McGregor. He wasn't being brilliant in that moment. He was being scared and desperate and really hanging on to the last breaths of his career, in my opinion. Now, what disappointed me is the post-fight press conference. That's like a tongue twister. Dustin Poirier said something that fucked me up. He said, of course. He goes, it's not over. And I do want to fight a 4th time. I took some time to think about it. Of course, you know. You cashing checks at this point. I mean, this shit is like free money. So I get that. But this is the position I would take if I were him. I would never take that fight ever again. No reason to do that. Why even give Conor McGregor that opportunity? That's the selfish shit. The first, unless, of course, the UFC say, hey, we're going to give you $100 million base salary. That's not pay-per-view. That's not bonuses. $100 million base salary. If I'm Poirier, that's the only way I take that fight. Now here, where me as a fan, I'm a mixed martial arts fan, where I kind of get a little sketchy. So what's supposed to happen? Let's say Dustin Poirier in 6 to 8 months fights Charles Oliveira for the belt, and he lifts it from Oliveira. He wins. He becomes a UFC champion, the real one, 155 pounds. What happens with Conor McGregor? He gets to come back and take a crack at the belt after winning one fight at that point in 6 years and getting knocked out or stopped at least twice by the same dude, and he gets a title shot? How the fuck is that right or fair? If Dustin Poirier wins that belt from Charles Oliveira, McGregor needs to fight somebody. He needs to fight a Justin Gaethje. He needs to fight a Michael Chandler. He needs to fight one of these dudes at the top of the division. He needs to fight one of these new up-and-comers. And he needs to win. He needs to win convincingly. Now, the flip side of that, if Dustin gets subbed or beat up or something like that by Oliveira, that's what's up. You just took a loss. Go ahead and go to the sideline because I know that's what you're going to do. Wait for McGregor to get better, and then you fight a 4th time, and then nobody cares. But what I would hate to see is McGregor coming off 2 straight losses, one by vicious knockout and one by doctor stoppage, get an opportunity to belt if Poirier is fortunate enough to lift it from Oliveira, which is no small task. But the UFC will do shit like that. They really will. They'll put cats on the back burner for these money fights. But if you look at the total of the card, and full disclosure, I did not buy that shit. Shout out to me. If you look at the totality of the card, the co-main event was probably the best fight, right? Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Gilbert Burns, close fight. Burns pulled it out. I had Thompson winning it on my prediction, but Burns did what he had to do. He got it dirty. He made it messy, and, you know, he fought well. You look at the Tai Tuivasa fight, Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's only on the main card because of piss poor notoriety for some shit he did in his past. Think about that. You spent pay-per-view money, and Greg Hardy was a 3rd fight on a main card in the UFC with no real background, coming off of the Contender Series, or whatever it's called, the Unpretender. I don't know what that shit's called. I'm not checking for that. I digress. What's next for Conor McGregor? Let me tell you. Let's say the UFC gave me a call and they said, hey, look, what should we do? Which is probably not going to happen, let's be honest. But one can dream. That actually wouldn't be a dream. Because I'll cuss them out and then they'll hang the fuck up. And then what happened? So they said, what are you going to do? Conor coming back, he got to show and prove. If Dustin win that belt, Conor can't fight for the belt next. That's just not even real. And the fans out there, and some of the celebrities and shit too on Twitter, you guys got some questionable tweets. Oh, they got to run that back. Why? Because you put money up on Conor because he was Conor and running his mouth? Culture vulturing it up? That's why we got to run that back? He's not beating Dustin Poirier in any situation or circumstance. Not today, moving forward, nope. They can fight 10 times in a row, and Dustin Poirier will beat him 10 times in a row. And cats out there will still be like, I love McGregor. McGregor. What has he done? He's never defended a belt. I mean, I got to give him credit. This dude has literally talked himself into a pound for pound ranking and has done nothing to really solidify that. No long win streak. No emphatic win over a gamed opponent, a dude coming off a sensational win. Now, none of that. Not in recent memory. He's done none of those things but run his mouth and throw shit at people and try to kick people on the weigh-in stage. But you guys are checking for that. And this is why, I'm going to leave on this note. And this is why Floyd Mayweather's a GOAT. I know it's a different sport, but he did beat up Conor. But this is why he's a GOAT. Even when the big checks started coming in, this dude was still hitting the grindstone. He was still running, busting his ass, training, long sparring. In the middle of the night, running, training. He didn't take losses and then just keep talking shit. We don't believe that. And that's the difference. You guys want to believe Conor McGregor, but he's just taking L after L and looking bad doing it. Getting knocked out viciously and then talking about somebody's wifey and shit. You think about Floyd? He talks that shit. Is why you love Conor McGregor initially. He would talk shit and then he would back it up. Floyd did that 50 times. No losses. Tough fights. Former champions, current champions. Made a lot of money in the game. I gotta give Conor McGregor credit. He's really just mouthpieced his way into a lot of money. And quite honestly, he's had a relatively insignificant mixed martial arts career. Outside of the double champ shit, 2 belts he never defended. The Aldo victory, I can't take away from him. The Eddie Alvarez victory, I can't take away from him. Those are notable victories. Outside of that, what have you done? Let me know what y'all think. This is your boy JG, Exaggeration and Experience. Shout out to my man Double M. Please, if you made it this far, if you're a real one, like, subscribe, bell icon for notification. We out.